right, welcome. This is the February 26th, 2026 meeting of the Sherborn Select Board. It is currently 6:34 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order. Present we have Paul Durensis, Jeff Waldron, Marion Neutra, and myself, Stephen Tsai. Our fifth member, Dan Sickle, is still out on medical leave, but hopefully will join us at our next meeting. And we begin by having the Assistant Town Administrator read the agenda.
And after I read the agenda, the board can vote to amend or approve the agenda. I've had no request for public comment tonight, and items may be taken out of order and topics not anticipated 48 hours in advance may be added. Item number 1 is the consideration of 2026 annual town meeting quorum. Item number 2 is the 705 public hearing regarding a grant of location for Eversource at 30 Augustine Brook Road. Item number 3 is the consideration of appointment to the North Sherborn Water Sewer District for a term until a permanent commission is established. We have 2 people that have applied: Matthew D. Martino, who is the current associate member of the North Sherborn Water Sewer District Commission, and Bob Murchison has applied. Item number 4 is the consideration of voting to finalize the 2026 annual town meeting warrant. Item number 5 is the FY27 operating and capital budget. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. That's the TA payroll warrant and the draft minutes of 1/22/26 that I brought back from the last meeting. Item number 7 and 8 is select board reports and town administrator updates.
All right, thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Well, I propose that we amend the agenda by taking item 3. No, actually, I propose we amend the agenda in 2 ways: that we postpone item 1, maybe we have to open it and then postpone it, but that we take items 3, 4, and 5 in whatever order they need to be taken in order to open number 2, the public hearing, at 7:05.
So, for clarification, are you saying we should eliminate item 1 or put it at the end? I didn't follow you.
Oh, not eliminate item 1, but move item 2 out of its second.
Item 2 is the public hearing, so that's going to be at 7:05.
Right, move the public hearing down in the agenda so that we can open it at 7:05.
Well, yeah.
That is, go from item 1 to item 3, and then we'll watch the clock.
But are you changing the order of the other items?
No.
So we're just going through the agenda and we'll just come to.
Well, I mean, I think as Diane said, the items can be taken out of order, so
Oh,
I think
okay.
I'm gonna muck it all up.
So I didn't have to amend.
Yeah, because the order doesn't matter.
Anyway.
And we're not adding.
You thoroughly confused me, is what you said you were doing, though.
Yeah.
I'm good at that.
Because also neither of the candidates for the sewer district commission are present yet, so I don't
Yeah.
want to do that with neither of them present. So anyways, yeah, we're going to take things out of order to just fill up some time before the public hearing at 7:05, but we're not adding or subtracting any items from the agenda.
Great.
Great.
I move that
Thank
we
you.
approve the agenda as read by the Assistant Town Administrator, adjusting the schedule to meet the public hearing.
We'll fill the 30 minutes by just spinning in circles.
There goes our 30 minutes.
Yeah. All right, it's moved.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor?
All
Aye. All right, so item 1, consideration of the town meeting quorum. So apparently I've been told that we need to actually post that 7 days before we vote on it. So we're not going to vote on this tonight, but I think that we can at least have the discussion about it. So either we might decide that no vote is necessary, or when we do bring it to the next meeting, it'll be fast because we'll have already.
So it's currently 50 though, right? Is that correct?
It's 100.
It's 100 right now? Okay.
So this was Acts of 2025 extended the emergency provisions that were set under COVID through June 2027, allowing the select board.
We've already do 100.
Yeah.
And this will be the last time that we can
And you
alter
could
the
do it
quorum,
again
right?
next year.
next year.
Through June 2027.
Okay.
But you do it one more
I
time.
was different than Eric. I'm not in favor of having it too low because if you add up the advisory committee, the select board, and all the town employees that are also residents, there's 30 people there that are those sort of in-house people. So when we were at 50, that's really only 20 citizens, on top of the people that are more or less mandated to be there. So I would advocate for it to be a minimum of 50.
And so I'm on record last year saying that I favored a town meeting quorum as low as possible, even 0. I think I was with Eric on that. But my position right now is effectively that we brought that article to town meeting last year and it was voted down. So in my opinion, the town has determined that they would like the quorum to be 100. And as far as I'm aware, at least as far back as I can remember, I don't believe that the town meeting attendance has been below 100. So I don't think that we're in a position where we are going to be at risk of being below quorum. And given that the town has voted that they want to keep the quorum officially at 100, I would just be in favor of not altering that and just keeping it at 100.
I agree.
I concur. And it's also not on, it would have to be on the warrant, right? If we were to change it.
No, I think we just have to make the vote and change it. It wouldn't have to be a warrant article because we're not permanently altering it.
Okay.
We're just we would be temporarily doing it like we did during peak pandemic.
Well, I would support
It seems unnecessary.
100, keep it at 100.
I'm good with
Your fleas add up to 100, don't you?
unless we have a snowstorm
Yeah.
in April.
But one could argue that if there's no public there beyond the boards and committees running the thing, maybe we shouldn't have a town meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
we want the public to be there, or it doesn't mean much.
Yeah, I think that was the point of
Yeah.
the people who spoke against and voted against it at last year's town meeting is that they don't want 50 people to make major decisions about the town.
Right.
So,
Yeah. All right.
So if you choose not to change it from 100, you don't need this back on your agenda.
yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I didn't want to actually just delay it to the next meeting because I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we don't want to change it. And for what it's worth, I did speak with Dan on the phone and he said he holds the same view. So it would be unanimous that we would not change the quorum anyways.
Okay, good.
Okay, so then no vote needed. Don't need to bring it back to another. Oh, geez, 25 more minutes to fill.
I see on the online here, there's Matthew's iPhone.
Is
Is that one of your candidates?
Matthew DiMartino, is that you on your iPhone?
Matt, you're muted.
Might be logged in, but busy doing.
Well, he thinks he's third on the agenda too.
Yeah,
He's-
There it is. Yeah, it's me.
It's you. Excellent.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I might still choose to delay it till after the hearing, just because on the agenda it says it's after that. So if I were Bob Murchison, I would logically conclude that that item is going to go at some point after 7:05. So I do think that we should still delay that one.
Yes.
And so why don't can we do the consent agenda? Let's do the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, consent agenda moved and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
All right.
It's a longer subject matter.
Yeah, I know. Well, the problem is that everything here is either much too long for 20 minutes or it's only going to take 5 seconds.
So we can
We
start.
could do a select board.
Yeah. All right. How about select board reports? Anybody have anything to report?
I presented the land acquisition committee article at advisory last night. There was, I did sort of make a mistake presenting it. Not sort of, I made a mistake. I presented it as a bylaw. It's not a bylaw. It's simply a town meeting warrant article. And the original committee was formed under a town meeting warrant article. So that's how it needs to be revised. And advisory had some very good questions about it. Same sort of questions that we discussed in our meeting last time. That is, do we first of all, do we really need to change the warrant language when the committee could elect, maybe go and do these things anyways, such as look at other town. And then it questioned whether we really need a land acquisition committee, but of course, that's not this warrant article. I explained that we were also divided, but we decided that it is good to bring it forth as a warrant article in order to clarify and extend the charge, and then let's see how it goes. So,
Well,
That's what we're
equally,
doing.
I think it's equally important to make more citizens aware of those activities, because that's part of it is, there's a lot of mystery and people don't know what it is. So part of it's the education.
that's right. So I put together a PowerPoint presentation that I think worked fairly well last night. And we can look at it. I can tweak it. Maybe we could use it again at town meeting. Yeah, basically, they asked some good questions, but that was it. They didn't vote. It was just an introduction.
Who's going to be presenting that at the public hearing and at town meeting? Is it you or Sam or?
I'm happy not to present it, or I'm happy to present it, but whatever you need.
Well, I mean, it's
Is it a
I have a
select
nice
board?
point that you could use, by the way.
Is it a select board
Yes.
article?
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't want me to present.
Just if I could make a comment, you had mentioned that the question was, couldn't the committee do this stuff on its own without changing the charge? And just speaking as a lawyer, where words matter to a lawyer, if a committee is supposed to be doing A and you find it doing Z, that's not fair to the public, to the voters, maybe to other communities. Now, we also think they may be doing the same thing. That it's our job, since we're creating this committee and been sponsoring it for all these years, to be the traffic cop, if you will, that we're assigning this group that task. And so by definition, we're not assigning those tasks to somebody else. You don't have duplication. You don't have now competing committees dealing with the same issues, coming up with different conclusions.
Well, that's well said, Paul. I wish I had had those words in my mouth last night. I did my best, but one thing that we did add to the charge that was not in the original charge, to your point, is to have the Land Acquisition Committee keep track of and analyze all the many little and not so little pieces of property that the town owns around Sherborn. And
Change.
no one is doing that.
Right. It's a
So,
big change.
so that's how it went. And yeah, we'll see. People will do a better job at town meeting, but I'm happy to give you my PowerPoint slides. Anybody who wants to do it.
Oh, you're perfect for it, Mary. It's unanimous.
But we'll back you up where will we?
Yeah, way back.
Okay, great. Good to know.
I don't have any select board reports. Do you have any?
My only report is that last night, there was another bargaining session with the Dover Sherborn educators, and it's been a good, congenial negotiation so far. Nobody's thrown anything at anybody yet. So we're meeting again next week. We are internally somewhat hopeful that we should be wrapping that up shortly. We have it scheduled out into April, but we're hoping that it's not going to take that long. But
What does the school budget have? Usually they have a placeholder for what their expectation is.
yeah, I don't want to misspeak.
That's
John
right.
has, I mean, it has something along
Something-
the order of what the current contract says,
Yeah,
plus the town's guidance.
okay.
So it's something along those lines.
Yeah, that's fine. Because they have to gauge that, and they have to gauge what the legal expenses might be in the
Yeah.
process too.
Yeah.
Remember those days.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right, 15 more minutes. Yeah. Town administrator updates?
Just several. Yeah. First, I wanted to give a thanks to Public Works and Public Safety for the last week or so in response to the storms. In particular, Public Works. I've got my Public Works Makes It Happen mug there. Get water out tonight. But Sean sent me a little information about how, their response over the last week. If you recall, there was a storm on Friday, so his folks came in 4 p.m. on Friday, addressing that storm for 20 hours. Then we're able to go home Saturday at about noon. Then on Sunday came back in 8 p.m. and we're essentially working for the next 2 days. So it didn't really get done with this storm cleanup with sort of initial storm response until 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
Wow.
So lots of
Sean is here.
he's here. So and knowing from personal experience that the volume of snow that we got from the last storm, and it was heavier snow on top of already snow and snowbanks, it's tough, it's difficult. Just my thanks there.
Did our
Well-
vehicles all make it through okay?
Yeah, they actually had some time between the storms this weekend to do some work on the vehicles and ahead of the blizzard. Sean could give a little detail on that if he wants. Generally the equipment at this time in the winter it's kind of broken in, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What's running is running. Another notable thing was to get Pineville School open.
But
this
before
week.
we leave that subject, you were thanking the DPW, but I think all of us, the whole board should be thanking him and his crews. I got nothing but positive feedback from people in town. The roads were safe. Wasn't any that I know of any defect in performance that had caused harm to any person. So it was all good. So I wanted to limit it, to expand your thanks to include my thanks, and I hope thanks of the entire board.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Sean. And crew.
Yeah, and their work at Pine Hill School, it was, Sean estimates over 600 cubic yards of snow they had to move from the parking area to the back basketball court to be able to free up space for the parking. So lots of volume.
It's crazy. If you go by the post office, you can't see the post office sign, which is 12 feet in the air.
The kids have a great sledding hill in school.
No, it's a remarkable job they did. And the hardest part, I think, is the sidewalks, because the problem is the sidewalks are very narrow and you have to use that special. They have 2 different vehicles that can do it. But then when you plow the road again, it covers the sidewalk, so it makes it worse. So that's the heart of the sidewalks, I think. And we don't have a lot of them, but that's very hard. So, and I just mailed a $310 check to my snowplow guy on the way over here. So.
Do we know what snow and ice expenditures are up to now this?
Well, we have a placeholder of 230 for a supplemental for town meeting. We'll revisit that now that the storm's over.
Be interested to know what that just this last storm cost.
We will have a tally of that shortly. Amy's smiling over there. She's trying to time. Yeah, Sean, anything you want to add? Again, thank you.
Right,
Sean.
I was trying to find a dog that ran away, and apparently he's at the neighbors, so he's fine. I missed the entire conversation, other than the sidewalk comment. We don't.
Thanking you for your excellent job in this last storm, you and your entire crew.
Yeah, it was a lot of hours. The crew has spent more time at 7 Butler Street than they have at their collective homes. This past week, they spent the entire weekend there. They got about 12 hours off. So it's been a long week. I do want to mention it's important for people to remember, this isn't directed at this group, but the town in general, we need to remind people that we do have a restriction on the salt usage. So if you drive through other towns and you notice that their roads are slightly better than ours, we work very, very, very hard to clear the roads with much less salt than they use. We have the unfortunate task of trying to keep up with towns like Framingham that salt while we're plowing. They melt 3 to 5 inches of snow before they start plowing. We can't do that. If we did that, no one would be able to drink any of their well water. So I need to remind everyone, every conversation I have with DEP when we talk about Woodhaven and Leland and the town's water supplies, they constantly bring up, you need to restrict your salt usage around those wells. And I remind them that 26,000 cars a day drive through downtown Sherborn. So if the state can do something about restricting their salt usage so everyone gets used to not great roads during a snowstorm, that would be helpful. But they raise the bar when the other towns are over-treating their roads to a point where we can't keep up with it. So it makes a difference, and it makes a difference at the tail end of the storm, because we had hard pack because we didn't salt all the way through the storm at times. So it takes a little bit of time, but the sun usually helps us in February, and it did. So despite the frustration for some of our residents, the sun can do more than 100 tons of salt in the waterways of Sherborn. So sometimes we do that the next day to be environmentally and fiscally responsible.
It was 40 degrees today. 40
What's that?
degrees today, and I didn't know whether to wear shorts and a t-shirt or what. It's like,
Yeah.
and the sun was shining. Wonderful.
Yeah, it was amazing how good the roads have been after it stopped snowing. Even without salting, you guys are doing something right, so thank you.
A couple more updates. So next week we have the Insurance Advisory Committee meeting scheduled that's next Tuesday at 3:30. So all the notices have gone out to all the stakeholders. We held here in this room at 3:30 next Tuesday. That begins that formal process of negotiating the plan benefits. And I just also wanted to relay and invite some select board members to a groundbreaking ceremony for the Sherborn History Center construction. So date and time is yet to be scheduled, but everybody has a desire to do some sort of a groundbreaking, if you will, inside a building, but you know what I'm saying? Ceremony.
Yeah, don't break anything.
We're not gonna. So just wanted to put that.
The primary contractor's been selected.
Yes. Yeah. TCD Construction. Out of,
Okay.
Peterborough, New Hampshire.
Okay.
They were a little bit. They're qualified, responsive. All the references checked out. They provided all the necessary contract documents, and we've signed the contract.
Good. Good.
We'll have a pre-construction meeting next Thursday, and are looking to schedule some sort of groundbreaking ceremony. So
Nice.
just want to put that out there.
So I'd like to go, if you put me on the list of invites.
Margo, add Paul to the list. Margo, online here.
Is there a ballpark estimate for project completion?
Yes, so they've provided a construction schedule that has substantial completion by June.
June.
Amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's great, that's fast.
Yeah.
June of 2026.
Year, yes. Months away.
Yeah, we're used to, we're talking about 32.
Yeah.
2032 or something like that.
Yeah.
So great.
So far, on time, one later.
And where are all the historical societies like their stuff held right now?
All stuff is storage. In a rental storage facility. I mean, there's some stuff still stored here, and there's display cases.
It's in Gentle Giant in Quincy.
Just yeah. and at a barn here in Sherborn as well, a private barn.
Will the architect be involved in overseeing the construction at all?
Yes, yeah. We've extended his contract to go through construction, so there'll be construction phase services, along with Sean and myself.
Great.
But the architect will be involved. We've already set up Thursday in the morning to be our weekly check-in with contract. All systems go.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that when it's finished. All right, is that it? 6 more minutes. Anybody have something to talk about for 6 minutes? Done.
Start the next item and just suspend it.
I mean, the next item is the consideration of the water district, which I think we want to wait till after the hearing. I suppose we could start talking about the warrant or the budget. Probably warrant would be easier to start with.
Yeah, I think we've been through that several times. I don't have any comments on the warrant, actually.
Article 8 that I will change and bring back up.
It's a technical change in Article 8,
Article 8.
just a legal change, no
Okay.
substance.
Okay.
Article 8, you said?
8.
The
Prior town.
borrowing,
Just lawyering.
Just lawyering.
Lawyering. All right.
Okay.
I can't help myself.
That's what you're here for.
All right. So, how do we want to do this? We already kind of went through a lot of the things last time. I guess one of the things, maybe instead of getting deep into discussion of any of these things yet, let's look at the order that the articles are in and just read the titles and see, is there anything that we would want to move into a different spot in the warrant for any reason?
Well, as part of that, if you recall, last meeting, I had talked a little bit about how many towns have what they call a rule article to adopt rules for town meeting. And we don't have such an article. And we've managed to do well without having that article, but we're getting to be bigger now, and it's maybe worth considering. So I sent around language that I had prepared for another town for you all to see what it was that I was talking about. The advantage of that is that we have our rules that the moderator kind of announces at the beginning, like, advisory has to make the motion, and then you have to overturn advisory's opinions and so on. Usually that stuff is in the motion, these rule motions that establish different rules. And similarly, we have many of our key town department heads are non-residents, and they're not allowed to speak at town meeting. So you have to specifically vote to authorize people to speak. And the rule article usually lists the people like town council, town administrator, police chief, fire chief, that kind of thing, so they can speak without interrupting the meeting and saying, well, wait a second, we want to ask official X, but we have to take this vote. So I just sent it. I should have done it earlier, but I have other things to do as fast as I could, which was today. I sent this sample so you see what it was that I was talking about. And if you were interested in doing that, that would be a new Article 2 and everything else would be numbered. If you're not interested, that's fine. I mean, it's a question of whether Sherborn has become enough of a big business to want to kind of organize itself a little more. Policy
The sample you sent looks like the warrant article language. Sentence, and
Yes.
the motions or the
Right. And the key thing is that you can't make an amendment that increases an appropriation without identifying a source of funds.
Well, we have only 1 minute till the public hearing, so I guess maybe we'll table that for now and come back to it when we get back to officially talking about the warrant.
That's technically though not on the, unless you consider that part of the warrant, Article 4. Item 4.
Item,
We just say we're discussing the town, finalize them. So this is
yeah,
part of that.
but that includes, potentially adding something.
Okay, all right.
which-
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we have draft language of any kind?
I didn't see it. I was running around today, so I didn't see what you sent
I
today.
didn't see.
I sent it by email.
Yeah, but I was doing my day job.
Get your priorities straight.
Yeah.
You know how much town-related things I do during my day job.
Yeah, I do something.
Well, I
This
was
wasn't one of them.
online.
Physically going to meetings in Natick during my day job.
When that was
I
sent?
hope nobody that I work for is watching this.
Like at 3 o'clock.
Oh.
All right, well, it is 7:05, so I think we will move on to agenda item number 2, which is the public hearing for the grant of location for Eversource, 36 Augustine Brook Road. I'm going to read the notice of the public hearing. So the select board will hold a hybrid public hearing on Thursday, February 26, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. regarding a petition N-Star Electric Company, DBA as doing business as Eversource Energy for the purpose of obtaining a grant of location to install approximately 40 plus or minus feet of conduit and one splice box 378 shown on the plan made by K. Rice dated February 7, 2026. Work is necessary to provide electric service to number 36 Augustine Brook. Oral and written comments are invited. All right, so can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
All
Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor?
right.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing is open.
Just for the record, I didn't vote on that because I'm not going to participate in this.
Okay. All right, so do we have a presenter for this?
They were notified that we were having the hearing tonight, but people at Eversource might be a little overwhelmed. So Sean is on. I think he can talk.
Okay.
This is for a new house that's being built for 36 bucks.
Okay.
Sean, any detail you'd like to add?
Did you need me to talk? Sorry.
Yeah, if you can, because I guess apparently Eversource might be overwhelmed and unable to attend to present.
We don't really need them to be here. I'm not sure everyone remembers, but that whole neighborhood is all underground. They recently, a couple of years ago, upgraded everything. But obviously, any new house, which we haven't had in quite a while, needs a new service, and it happens to be across the street from where the transformer and maid feeds are. So they need to cut across the road to feed that house. The house is already under construction, so I'm sure they're eager to get power. There's no reason that we would question the need for this.
Great.
So it's pretty routine.
So I would like to open the hearing up to public comments. And there's nobody in the room other than Jeannie, but if anybody on Zoom has a comment, please use your raise hand feature. All right, seeing none, I'm closing the first public comment session and opening the select board discussion session. Any comments or questions?
Well, they might be able to just snowplow to do the excavation. It's something that occurred to me.
All right, closing the select board discussion and reopening second public comment session. All right, seeing none, closing the second public comment session and opening the select board voting session. Can I get a motion relative to this?
Yes, I move to approve the grant of location for Eversource at 36 Bogastow Brook Road for the purpose of providing power to a new home under construction.
I second the motion.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
All right.
And Paul's abstaining. Great, so that's through. We'll sign this afterwards. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, right along. All right, so now we have consideration of appointment to the North Sherborn Water Sewer District for a term until a permanent commission is established. Our applicants are Matthew DiMartino, who is a current associate member of the commission, and Bob Murchison. I do see that Matt is here. I don't see Bob online, but Matt, since you're here, do you want to say anything in support of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put forth the best effort to make this commission successful. I mean, I do live in the town. I do have a lot of interest in the town. I'm somewhat close to the site where this the development is going to happen. I'm familiar with a lot of utility work. I have a civil engineering degree. I work for a contractor and we do the majority of our work in Boston and Cambridge. I've done various utilities within those two big cities. Like I said, I'd be happy to join and do the best I can to help the town make this successful.
Great, thank you. Marion?
I have a comment. Matt has participated in a number of our North Sherborn Water Sewer District intercommission meetings, and especially in the more recent ones, he has been extremely helpful because we're in the process of putting together bylaws and rules and regulations in a subject that most of us know very little about. So he's been already a really valuable resource, and we realize we need that expertise on the commission. And so I put in a word for appointing Matt DiMartino.
Yeah, and I also want to underscore that. So Marion and I are both also members of the interim commission. And certainly one of the things that has become clear in the past several meetings is that we have a desperate need for more technical expertise on the commission, which I think Matt brings a lot of. And especially having already been sort of involved in meetings recently, he's a logical choice to be appointed as a full voting member.
Yeah, I would echo all that. And I worked for Turner Construction earlier, and I know White Construction and Wentworth quite well. So the other thing I would thank Paul, because I think we're very fortunate that we created the associate member position, and not only on this committee, but on other committees. It's kind of a handy thing as you have someone who's already pretty well up to speed, that having not been a voting member, but informed. So that worked out really well. So I would like to make the motion to name Matthew DiMartino as a current associate member, as a full member, voting member, permanent member of the North Sherborn Water District.
Second.
All right, before we vote, Sean had a hand up. Was there something you wanted to say?
No need. Continue with the motion.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
I think we should also say thanks to Bob Murchison for putting his name in, because there's a lot of work to be done there, and we appreciate his willingness to step forward.
He's very knowledgeable too. So yeah.
All right, excellent. All right, back to the town meeting warrants. All right, so we were discussing the possibility of adding a new Article 2 for establishing ground rules. Know how you guys feel about that. I've gone back and forth on it. I recognize the reasoning behind what Paul is saying. I also know that Sherborn residents are very strongly creatures of habit, and any alteration to how town meeting occurs will probably engender an hour worth of discussion, probably.
That was my feeling too.
And so I do worry about adding something like that, especially somewhat last minute. We're considering finalizing the warrant right now, and adding something literally just before we finalize it, something that you two haven't even seen the draft language for yet. I don't know. To me, it feels more like something that I might want to consider next year. Maybe if you could bring this up earlier in the process. I mean, you've already got your language written, and we can have more open discussion about it. That would be my thought.
I actually agree with your comment that it doesn't necessarily have to be for this year. It's something that eventually the town is going to go to, but does it need to be this year versus next year or even 5 years from now? It is simply something copied from another town.
Mm-hmm.
It has the advantage of being more democratic in the sense that all the rules are actually voted on rather than saying, well, we've always done it this way, or this is how we do things in Sherborn and that kind of stuff. So if somebody wants to modify those rules in some way, there's a chance for people to have that discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a good idea. And for next year, perhaps. I think that the moderator should be part of the discussion when we put it together, because it could be a very smooth transition if the moderator is on board and, pretty much doing what he would do anyway, but with a little more.
Yeah, most
Form-
moderators support these
structure.
motions because otherwise, if a non-resident, like I'm a non-resident as town council in other towns, if you're going to stop the town meeting when I'm about to make a statement and say, wait a second, we have to now vote whether or not this individual can speak to town meeting, it really does mess up your meeting. Whereas you get done, so there's reasons for a moderator to want to make his town meeting more efficient.
Okay.
But I'm not, I didn't present it for any urgency. It was just to share with you something that for you to consider.
All right. So let's start with the order of everything. I think like one of the things was we wanted to group the things that are most likely to be consent articles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got reports, supplementals, prior bills, OPEB, cemeteries, revolving funds, stabilization funds, rescinding borrowing. That one probably is consent as well, right?
In most towns, revolving funds are consent agenda.
People
Yeah,
may,
nobody's gonna
we've never
object to
ever
that.
seen that. All these other ones are just
Yeah,
in every article. That's not in prior
yeah.
warrants.
So I do worry that there are some people who are gonna be like, what's this? This is new. Hold on,"
Well,
but
Not
we can
only
have-
that,
we
not
can
only
have
that,
explain
it has to do with library funding, so it's gonna, that's a,
Yeah, but it's rescinding it,
an unpopular topic,
Yeah,
so
we're saying don't spend it.
I wouldn't
People
jinx,
be happy
I would make
to hear that.
1
Well-
through 7 be the consent.
Well, for
I
what
mean,
it's worth,
that's the
The
moderator.
moderator decides, but if we cluster them together, then the moderator
Yeah.
can still choose to lump them.
And we can get it out of the way before we're really then starting with the budget and
Yeah.
capital plan, so I think it's in the right order.
All right. So then budget, capital, small capital, regional capital, each of those will be standalone. Then we've
I
got,
guess Article 11, because we went around on this today, I'm not sure I've seen that exact word, non-recurring equipment supplies.
yeah, I think that's new language this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. Now, if you look at, we debated about this today. I think there's wording in the checklist for the warrant that this is also funded by free cash. It does not say that in the article, but I think in the checklist it does. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, because usually the funding source will be stated in the motion.
So, well,
Has to be stated in the motion.
Yeah, so it would,
well, but you know, some like the capital, some things we fund with free cash and some with debt. So that we do with each item.
yeah,
This one, it seemed to me like we would probably have to say it if we want it to be free cash. If you look at, like I said, the checklist has in the title free cash,
They're all proposed.
but it's not in the title should match is what I'm saying. If this was definitely free cash, I don't know that advisory has said that this will be funded with free cash, but
Currently proposed to be free cash.
yeah, all right. So then maybe we should just change the title of Article 11 here to match the checklist, which has free cash in parentheses at the end of it. I think it does.
here,
He wants to put it
Am I
in.
right?
wait, in the checklist. Well, the checklist is unofficial, right?
It is, but
He's saying for Article 11, add the word free cash non-recurring equipment, supplies and services.
which
Knows that that's.
in the checklist, it just has this exact phrase that says free cash funded.
Is there any legal reason why we couldn't or shouldn't say free cash funded in the title of the article?
The legal reason not to do that is if you're going to fund it with some other, like overlay surplus, you suddenly have some
Yeah.
extra money there, then you're kind of locked into.
But we should take it out of, all I'm saying is the checklist should match this, so we should take it out of the checklist or add it here. One or the
Yeah.
other.
Just to take it out of the check.
Take it out of the checklist, I think.
Gives you more flexibility.
Free cash, but.
Yeah, I don't love the idea of basically locking us into it. I mean, I think that we should
exactly.
use it as free cash, and I'm assuming that advisory agrees that we should use free cash, but locking it into the article itself seems,
Exactly.
yeah, so take it out of the checklist, I guess.
So in terms of the order of the
And-
articles,
Well, wait, before I get to this, so we also have this thing, I'm not sure whether you hand this out, this is the supplement. So we have to change that, has to be changed. This is a draft annual town meeting warrant, and then this is not the full warrant, is it? This is the supplement. Where's the supplement table?
these are, this is like informational summary from the Board of Selectmen regarding,
Yeah, so my only point
should be the title.
is,
I think we've corrected the titles and the numbers.
well, Article 11 doesn't have free cash here either in the supplement of the supplemental information table. So you need
Got it.
to add free cash
Yeah,
there
I
and
guess
it's the
it's
warrant article itself.
In the supplement, I'll say.
We have three sort of documents showing the warrants. I just wanted to make sure they matched. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keegan.
But I know, I think what we should do though is, I think we should take free cash out of the
Yes, okay.
checklist and out of the official warrant. But then in the supplemental information, it can say free cash funded
Right.
in the same way that the other capital items, like some of them say free cash and some of them say.
Okay, all right, okay, I'll go with that, because that's really,
Yeah. But yes, I agree that
yeah.
in the supplemental, it should say free cash, since we say for the other capital items anyways.
But on
But this is non-binding, right? The motion itself is actually established. Right. Yeah.
So in the checklist, you want Article 11 to say free cash, non-recurring.
No, just eliminate all reference to free cash.
Okay,
So in the checklist and then in the official
And-
warrant,
okay,
no mention of free cash in
Got it.
Article 11. But in the supplemental information, the tables at the end,
that's what I
Add
need.
free
Say
cash.
free cash there, yeah.
supplemental information should have an, say, select board. It should say supplemental information. Select board supplemental information. regarding, shouldn't be draft. Supplemental information regarding 2026 annual town meeting
But
warrant.
I'm confused why that doesn't match the warrant. But why do we want free cash in the supplement but not in the other two areas? What, if we might change it, we shouldn't have it in there anywhere.
Well, so the supplement is what we used to always call below the line, right? Most of these tables used to be, it would be like capital improvement, and then that whole table here,
Yeah,
right? But it would be below the line that says select board for various departments. And it would be, all right, well, the stuff that's in that chart can change in the lead up to town meeting, right? So let's say the cost of a capital item changed, after we finalize it, you're still allowed to change that information.
okay.
So that's what now, instead of putting that in line with the warrant, which I guess some people found confusing, we said, no, let's just push all of that stuff into a supplemental package at the end.
All right.
So this is all sort of non-binding information that can change,
Okay.
and so that's why we put the funding source of debt or free
In
cash
the supplement. All right.
because it can change. If advisory or whoever decides that what this thing, why don't we fund this with free cash instead of debt? They can just make that change.
Okay.
But I wonder if all of these articles for which it's important to be able to see the supplement should have some note at the end of the article for people who are kind of reading through this without knowing the structure of the whole thing. There should be some note that please see supplemental page, whatever it is.
I think I think you want to try to keep your warrant as big as possible.
Okay.
That's-
You could have it up front, just, is this in the warrant though? Is this supplement included in the warrant?
It won't be,
Yeah, it's not part of your warrant.
Yeah.
Supplement to the warrant.
but
That's why it can change.
So do we hand it out though?
It'll be along with it.
right. So anybody who decides, I want to go find out what the warrant is,
They're gonna see supplement.
right, because it'll be a PDF or whatever, and this will be
part of
in
that
it,
PDF,
right?
but not technical part of it.
Right, and then also in the advisory report, the supplemental information will also be in the advisory report. So all of the reasonable outlets by which the public are going to find the warrant, the supplement's going to be attached to it.
And
Well, including the handout that's given out the evening of the town meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
And the advisory report is mailed to every household. The warrant is not.
Okay.
It will be posted on the website and it's posted in, I think, 3 various places throughout town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to prevent confusion when things inevitably change.
Yeah.
If you lock it into your warrant, then you would have. Information.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So we're up to Article 12, regional capital, that's all fine.
Now, I had a comment about order here.
Okay. On which ones?
The omnibus budget and these capital articles.
Okay,
So I sat through at least one meeting in one town and listened to a recommendation from a finance director that the budget should come after we know what debt service is going to look like and what some of the numbers are going to look like on the capital side. 'Cause sometimes some capital items end up being in budgets. Sometimes free cash was going to be used to supplement other budgetary issues. This finance director was recommending to apply it to this warrant that essentially Article 9 and Article 12 reverse order, that the budget comes after the capital and not before. But that was just one town finance director.
Yeah, that I've seen that as well in other communities. And if it makes a bigger difference when the debt is within the levy, it's not excluded debt. That can change the budget amount for debt service inside of your budget. Where all of your debt is excluded debt, it's not as big a change to your budget. The change to your budget would be the short-term borrowing cost, the van cost that needs to be carried. So that's not as big a swing as the entire debt service for a capital project.
So in the towns where they do that, where they put the budget after capital, then are they recalculating the debt service line on the fly? And
Sometimes.
wow, yeah, we're not-
They're making a calculation, assuming certain things are gonna pass.
Right.
If they don't, then they can recalculate.
yeah.
But that's the
Some-
problem, no matter what order you put it in.
Well, the problem is that if you do the omnibus budget first, it's got a line for debt service. You vote it, you approve it, that's it. And then afterwards, now you start messing with capital, and you're like, oh, well, we did things that now make that debt service line
All
inaccurate.
right, so it makes sense to put the omnibus budget.
But again, like Jeremy said, since we do all of our borrowing is excluded debt, it's not within the tax levy.
Oh,
So yeah. Yeah,
Plus, I don't think it's not realistic for us to recalculate it, from Article 12 to Article 9, or, I mean, I don't think I understand the theoretical reason, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's practical.
I mean, I do think that long term, one of my goals is to bring more of the debt into the tax levy, but
Yeah,
we're not doing that anytime soon.
no,
So,
it would take a lot of explanation.
A big deal as well when you're at a levy, or you don't have any excess levy capacity. Any more motions that change budget. That's the same, necessitates some on the fly calculations. And that's one of the rules that Paul brought forward, that there would need to be an offsetting funding source for a budget.
So this falls into your rule of if we do something different, then everyone's gonna know
Yeah.
why we're doing it different, so
yeah,
that's
'Cause
why I'm not.
yeah, I feel like that's a change that I would be in favor of sometime in the future when we do start trying to pull more of our debt in under the levy instead of
Yeah, I
excluded.
think that, and where we have time to prepare an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Right.
so duly noted, but I would say that we should leave the order in the order that people are used to. Okay, so Article 13, land acquisition. Did we make some changes from last time?
the
Yes,
underlying ones.
actually, the previous version had the whole text of the current charge mission, and then the whole text of the new version. This kind of combined them by just putting the changes in. The original version has underlined, changes. So, I mean, it makes a lot more sense. It's easier to read and less confusing.
Have you looked through the wording and you're okay with how it looks now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Great. All right, then.
Can I ask a quick question on the regional roof replacement? The school has the capability to borrow also,
They do.
so I don't know. This is assuming that each town will just fund their supply. I wonder if we should consider, after advisory discussed that already, having the school, like when we did the renovation that my kids lived through, building a new middle school and
There's a legal advantage to it this way.
is it legal advantage?
The legal advantage is that it allows the voters in our town to kill the project.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Whereas if we have the region do it, the voters
Yeah,
don't have that. And what we want in our town is to do the project as long as it's outside the levy limit.
yeah,
And the only way to get it outside the levy limit is to do,
have our bond,
Oh,
yeah,
that's true, yeah, because the
Small-
debt assessment to us would be under
as
the.
opposed to an interest expense from them borrowing,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
The other issue is that the region has a worse bond rating than we do.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which
All right.
I was talking to Dawn yesterday. So you know how we always would, well, at least you and I probably remember, on advisory, we would make a stink about the school's E&D, and how they were always
absolutely.
all the way up at 5%.
5%, exactly.
Yeah, so apparently the bond rating agencies,
You don't like that?
no, they like 5%.
Oh, 5%, yeah.
Yeah, they don't like it if you're not at 5%. And so last year, whenever they dropped down to 3 point something percent because they had the whole
Hey,
thing.
there's a floor too, right? You can't go below 3.
Yeah, it's 3 to 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you're closer to 3, they don't like it. So they were closer to 3 last year. And
Oh.
their bond rating was
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I always thought it was like, oh yeah, you could be anywhere 3 to 5%, but no, apparently you really do actually want to be up at 5%.
It's another reason why they shouldn't be doing the borrowing. They should leave it to the two communities to do the borrowing.
Yeah.
Not only do we have the advantage of better democracy, being able to exempt it from Proposition 2.5, but we have a better bond rating.
I just noticed a small change. So we're in Article 12. It should be select board or not select them.
Oh yeah.
Where's that? I'm sorry.
Article 12 in the parentheses at the very end says Board of Selectmen.
Oh,
Oh, thanks, Diane.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Can we also
that tells you how long it's been in there.
can we also this is like very minor, but like Articles 11 and 12 in the parentheses, see how they're not italicized?
It's already, I'm on there
Great.
to do.
Okay, great. All right, land acquisition is all good.
Is there any, it's for some reason land acquisition placement seems funny, then you go back to some sort of, I guess it's zoning, but stormwater and management. I'm just wondering if the land acquisition thing should be moved further down.
It could be elsewhere.
Well, that's the transition from the money articles to the language articles. And
What
so,
about free
yeah.
cash is Article 16?
yeah, I had a question about whether that should be 16 or should that be,
Should be up with the
Or it
other.
probably should be 13,
yeah,
right? Right after the finance funds.
right, because I went through this and I didn't see any money in any of these other articles.
Okay,
You want free cash?
So-
Article 12.
Yes, free cash after Article 12.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then as long as 14 and 15 stay together, I don't have an opinion as to whether land acquisition should be before those or after those.
I don't know.
But we don't want to have the last article, we want our people to believe it, but the other ones are sort of like standard maintenance of the town, the stormwater and zoning issues. This seems like,
Yeah, but you know how those planning board are.
yeah, I know.
Somebody's always got an opinion.
But right
And
now,
Robert Johnson's already writing.
I know this very well, 268 Western Ave or whatever it is. I know, I've been there. I know the street address, I think.
Okay, Robert's probably listening.
That's all right.
there's a logic to this order because you start by going first to this charge of a committee, which is a bylaw.
Yeah,
Then you go to a bylaw. And then you go to zoning. So it's like
Okay.
you're going up a staircase
yeah.
from
Okay.
the least legally complicated to the moderately legally complicated to the most legally complicated.
Okay.
And I feel like also amend sections of the zoning bylaws, like that title on its own is going to cause some people to want to stay to the end. You know?
Right, or
Yeah.
get up and leave, I'm not sure which.
Yeah. People have opinions about zoning bylaws.
Well, I think it's pretty, I mean, I voted in favor of having 3-page warrants. Yeah, moving forward.
No citizens petitions.
Yeah, just an observation about Article 5. That is brought forward by the Cemetery Commission, and it's the same wording that was used prior year. However, I learned last night at the advisory committee meeting that the Cemetery Commission is intending to do something different. And that this wording as presented maybe in conflict with that. So there's a flaw in this language for what they may be attempting to do. So if the wording stays as presented, it's likely going to be no action. Oh, which is not the end of the world in that the monies that are available to them are currently available to them for spending.
Okay,
Um,
so it doesn't alter what they can or plan to do?
no, it just keeps the money where it currently is in essentially the capital appropriation from cemeteries for them to spend.
Okay,
They're apparently desiring to move that out of that appropriation somewhere else.
Who's they?
Not about that.
they.
The advisory or
No, cemetery.
cemetery is?
So why don't we give them the right answer to accomplish what they want to do?
Yeah.
Why put in the wrong language?
This is what they've requested. They did not request of me anyway. It was this, you're writing the warrant article. So.
But I think if
learned
you
this
bring
last-
to their attention
Hmm.
that, wait a second, this isn't going to accomplish what you want.
I did that last night, Paul.
So do you want to take that out of the consent agenda?
Well,
It's gonna,
You might want to consider taking it out of the warrant thoroughly.
Last night being the.
because
advisory
even if
committee?
we take it out, they can still use they can still use the money. The other option would be to delay finalizing the warrant until next meeting, but
Well, the cemeteries,
Close, so you've got one more meeting before the advisory public hearing. So you're gonna wanna, two things, you're gonna wanna finalize your warrant before then.
we only have one more meeting.
You got one more meeting. You're gonna finalize your warrant and you may want to have some votes and a stance on the article.
What our position is, what we support, what we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not doing
Your
that.
next meeting.
We're not doing that tonight, right? Yeah.
March 12th.
Yeah.
Your next meeting may be busy.
Well, maybe I could write the article the way it should be if you tell me what it is they're trying to accomplish.
That's what I don't know, Paul. I don't know the details. I don't know where they're moving it from. It's backwards from what apparently they're looking to do, from what I heard Chucky say at the advisory committee last night.
My concern is that if it is in the consent agenda, everything's, favorable action, and then this one is no action. Well, we've had no action wrapped up in a consent agenda before, right?
Yeah, that no action can be
Yeah.
on the consent agenda.
Yeah, I always worry that somebody in the audience is gonna notice an aberration and then call a hold, But if they
Yeah.
wanna do that, they can do that.
article, I should have stuck around last night. I didn't hear that discussion, but Article 5 talks about raise and appropriate or transfer available funds. I go back to I'm a member of the public
Provided
now.
any dollar amount yet.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
If they haven't provided any dollar amount either.
but that's usually
Exactly,
all
so-
the line, right, so.
But Mary's making a good point that we can change some of this in the motion at town meeting. Because it already says an appropriation, blah, 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 for the improvement or the enlargement.
Okay, I have an idea.
Yeah,
Let's move Article 5 after Article 8. Because if the cemetery situation starts getting complicated,
Yeah,
then the moderator might want to just pull that out of the consent agenda.
not being yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would just leave the language in there. If the cemetery commission decides that they want to get all squirrely with the motion and do this and that, whatever, like that's gonna warrant like discussion and some kind of
That's a
explanation.
good suggestion.
So, but if they don't, then it's still in the list, it's just at the end and it can still get
Perfect.
incorporated into the,
Perfect suggestion. And the moderator can decide.
Alright, so did you get that, Jeannie? So Article 5 will move after rescind borrowing.
so it'll now be the Article 8.
It'll be Article 8.
Okay.
But otherwise, we'll just leave the language as it is. Since we haven't gotten the request to change the language right now.
Right.
Yeah, let's leave the language as it is. I will talk to them before town meeting, or before the advisory hearing. And if it's within the scope of the article, I might suggest to advisory some wording change.
Yeah. But only as part of a motion.
as part of the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't change the articles.
The funds they're looking to move are currently appropriated by town meeting and are available for cemeteries use currently. Just for awareness, they have no restrictions on the use of the funds. They're looking to move somewhere else. They can use them for the same purpose, the same reason.
Okay.
As they say.
So why do they need a warrant article?
I don't know, Mary.
Probably because there's new funds. Yeah, there's funds.
That's outside of town meeting, not needing town meeting.
New funds don't need town meeting. Every year we vote.
So maybe we can eventually just drop that article out of the,
You don't need the article at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I suggested to Chucky last
I mean,
night. The simplest thing is to spend down what they currently have and machine, not bring forward another warrant.
Yeah.
Futures money.
I mean, my worry about having it in here is that no matter where you put it, the way it's written and the way it's kind of irrational, it's going to cause a lot of confusion at town meeting. There's going to be questions about it. So where is that in the supplementary budget? What are they asking for? Et
What,
cetera.
cemeteries?
Yeah.
But this article's always in the,
Yeah.
every single year it's always in there.
Oh, okay.
And every now and then it's like, oh, okay, we're transferring $20,000 to this thing. And I'm like, okay, so. And then some years it's like, yeah, no action. And I'm like, I don't know what you're doing with that.
But so when they first,
So,
So we're,
so we're used to it, number one, and number two, just as a matter of policy, I would never say no to any town board or committee who wants to come forward with an article that's within their jurisdiction. That's just basic comedy
Yeah.
to our sister
leave it as
boards.
is.
Yeah, no, if they haven't requested a change, we'll leave it as is and we'll just shift it down to the end of the consent string. Okay, so is that it?
We'll make change.
Steve Bonder.
Yeah, Stephen Bonder, go ahead. Steven, you're on. Your mic says that it's hot, but I don't hear you if you're talking.
Oh,
He's got to relog in. No, there he is.
No,
He moved around. Yeah, yeah. But he's muted now.
and his hand disappeared. Oh, here he comes.
It's unmuted.
He hadn't muted, but
Can you type your
Maybe
comment
not.
or question and Jeremy can read it?
Oh, there he is. He's here.
huh.
Oh, he's
Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he hit the
Alright.
raise hand by mistake.
Okay,
you might be having mic issues. Nothing yet in the chat.
Okay.
okay. So Jeannie, you've got all of the changes, right?
I
So,
can make them now. As long as I got that.
That'd be great.
Nothing the budget. Jeremy, up to you.
I was gonna say we could just vote to finalize as amended.
Yes, so moved.
Yeah, but she can make the changes.
Yeah, you can just make the change. Yeah, I guess if you can bring it back up here so we can sign it
Right.
by the end of the meeting, but we'll vote.
Okay.
as-
All right.
But I would move then to adopt the warrant as amended.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, draft operating capital budget.
Let me get across the water real quick. You guys
Okay.
can start without me.
Actually, can you do me a favor and fill mine up?
You want some water?
Yeah, can you?
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Can you hear me now by any chance?
Oh, yeah, here
There
you
you are.
I'm sorry about that. Technology is wonderful, especially when it works.
What did you want to say?
I just, before I speak, I want to say that I offer these comments as a town resident and not in my capacity as a member of the advisory committee. Back to that, Article 5, the improvement embellishment of cemeteries. It seems that the confusion could also come from the fact that the money is coming into the general fund as well from cemetery. So that's included in the revenue for fiscal 27. So I just hope that it doesn't create even more confusion because it's in both spots. You know, there's this article, which probably could be reconsidered as to whether it's included, because there's not an amount that's going in the wrong direction and there are other funds already available. And there's money coming into the general fund to subsidize the appropriation.
Okay.
But there has to be an appropriation to subsidize. You can always withdraw it, but if we eliminate it now, we're stuck.
Yeah, very good pen.
So I would say let's go forward and issue it as is. I did say I would try to talk to them. But
Yeah.
Jeremy can talk to them. Anybody, any one of us can talk to them and try and
Yeah.
figure out what they're really trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and the motion can always be no action, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, so, lacking better guidance from the cemetery commission as to what it is that they're trying to accomplish, I would say we'll leave it like this, and it may just end up being a no action. Okay, budget.
Budget. So this is included in your packet, but it's timely that you get an update on the status of the overall budgets, which was announced at 5.7. From prior conversations, you know, the presented budgets for FY 27 were over the allowable levy limit, such that it would have necessitated an override. So since the budget roll-up was done initially, there's been a lot of work on meetings with advisory. I've talked to some of the departments that are under the select board and town administrators purview. I think have some further clarity on revenue and expenses relative to very expensive budget. So here's a big high-level summary of some of the changes since the initial budget roll-up that was in the beginning of January. Those top 4 lines are changes in revenue. And then the bottom 10 or so columns are expenses. So in general, a plus is good for revenue. More revenue is good. And a minus for expenses is good in terms of not needed override. So in the expense, on the top of the revenue, since the original budget, the governor's budget has been published for FY 27. That includes a 3% increase for Chapter 70 school aid and 2.5% increase for unrestricted government aid. So from our original forecast, that's actually an increase in revenue of about $50,000. That will help your budget. There's still a ways to go for the state budget. There'll be a House budget, a Senate budget, a reconciliation budget. So that still needs to play out, but there is now an actual proposal from the Commonwealth for their budget state aid. So we've incorporated that in the budget model. That's been favorable. Local receipts that has come through and updated our forecast for local receipts. So modestly increasing what we can include in the budget model for local receipts. And actually, Stephen mentioned just earlier, there's a new contribution coming in to the general fund from the cemetery perpetual care. This is anticipated to be an ongoing revenue source. This will be the first year you'll see it. And that's $24,000. Supplement the operating budget. And then because there is a large increase proposed for out-of-district expenses from the schools, it may be time to utilize what's left in your special education stabilization fund. If there is 80,000 change. So if the town does choose to use that as a one-time revenue source, that helps with revenues to fund your FY27 budget. So from the initial budget roll-up to what's shown here, that's a positive revenue of about $150,000 to help pay your budget.
I can ask a question on that real quickly, because I thought that sped stabilization fund was in the Pine Hill budget, not the regional budget, wasn't it?
This is a standalone stabilization fund that was funded by free cash some years ago.
I thought it was just for Pine Hill, though.
3 years ago. There's still budget left.
Because otherwise it would have to be split with Dover if it's regional.
Sure, contributions only.
Yeah, so the way that the special education funds at the region work is that they're divided by the town that the student lives in, regardless of whether they're high school, middle school, or elementary.
No, but that's not, I thought when we created the stabilization fund, it was only for elementary school students. We could go back and check.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and check.
Yeah, I don't know that, but we didn't try to mess with regional school, even if it was our share. I thought it was just.
But I think even our out of district cost,
Exceeds
the
that.
Pine Hill students are going to exceed that anyways, so,
Yeah, I'm asking more for information purposes, but I
yeah.
thought it
Maybe,
was,
can you look into that?
thought it was originally in the Pine Hill budget. So it was only Pine Hill students, because and now, see, it's confusing now because you said they're taking all out of district, out of Pine Hill and moving it to the regional school budget. Is that what we
No, just
The other way.
reverse?
they're dividing the grades appropriately, so this out of district in both. Especially in both.
But I thought they took some funding from the elementary school into the regional budget.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, but that's because of the way that the charter was written for the region. Essentially, the charter says that out of district is going to be funded at the regional level. And so, somebody was.
Including the elementary school students that are out of district. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's,
So traditionally, it's been that Dover and Sherborn each in their own local school district included all of the out of district costs in the local school budget.
So it wasn't in the regional budget at all?
At
then?
all.
Oh, all right, I got it.
Apparently
Okay, I
that's
got you.
not the way these three
Which is
work.
why this stabilization fund was only created at Pine Hill,
Right.
because it didn't exist.
so we should look into whether the language of that stabilization fund specifies that it can only be used for Pine Hill. And if it does, we might need to change that or something. I mean, not for this change, but
If you set up this special, if you use it and drain it out, the next time that you put monies into it, there's actually been a change in the law that would create a big law, you probably wouldn't reuse it.
I see. Makes sense. Okay.
Okay,
If you're gonna change the purpose of a stabilization fund, you can. But it requires a 2/3 vote.
Though we're not doing that this year, I think. Well, we,
No, I think we're just gonna spend it down.
Asking to spend it down to help.
yeah, exactly, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I just remember when we created it.
so on a little different subject, I heard informally that the House and the Senate have to do their own budgets. Usually the House goes first and then the Senate goes first. And I think the state aid is going to be a little more than what's there.
More?
More.
Okay.
Up.
Okay. Yeah. More is good, less bad. I don't care what the number is. If it's more, if it's gonna be less, then I'm gonna be like, okay.
This.
So down on the bottom section here are the expenses that have been adjusted since the initial budget roll-up. I think you're all aware of version 2 of the school budgets that had reduced their requests by about $450,000. They're still increasing their budgets for FY 27, just not quite as much as they originally planned.
You haven't received 3.0 budget yet, have you?
I have not, I believe, like, they have introduced a version, at least, for,
I know it's imminent.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she told me,
February.
what it was gonna be, so I think
February 24th is
Hasn't
supposed to
seen
be.
it yet. I'm not sure if it's going to be much difference, but
it'll be better.
okay. There's also, we just received the final head counts for Tri-County and Norfolk Aggie. There's an additional student going to Norfolk Aggie, which we need to adjust for, so we need to increase the tuition there. The health insurance budget line, we've got the firm numbers from Maya as far as our premium increases. And we've taken a hard look at the head count, and with the impending plan design changes, and we're comfortable reducing that request by $270,000. That's good news.
So that number includes a plan change or does not include a plan
Does
change?
not include much of a plan change,
Okay.
and that hasn't played out yet. You'll see that is essentially with reducing that budget line by 270 is essentially level funding it.
Okay.
So there might be a little more room to run there, but we need to have the negotiations play out.
Okay.
Just going back to Tri-County for a minute, if we have an additional student at Tri-County, doesn't that mean that we have one less student at the region and therefore our percentage of the region's budget would go down?
Only if nobody from Dover went to Dover Aggie and Tri-County. Right. Or whatever is their equivalent, because they're in a different county, right? Wait,
Yeah, they go to like Benavan.
Yeah.
From set up, but
Do you know how
theory,
many?
yeah, Paul, theories. I'm not sure what, if the head count is based on prior year, or the current year, and 1 year alone is known, but it's a good question.
My understanding was that at the ag school, that the Tri-County Ag School, that we're already paying for 5 students as a baseline payment. So is this extra student one of those 5, or in addition to those 5?
Or it's actually an additional student at Norfolk Agricultural.
Is separate from,
Oh, it's separate.
separate from Tri-Cal.
It's not tricky.
Yeah, you were right on Tri-Cal.
Tuition that we are obligated to fund that. For Tri-County, this is the assessment for the student count, and for capital is you're paying 5 students for capital.
Yes.
If there's less than 5, you pay less than 5 for enrollment, but
Oh,
capital was a minimum of 5.
oh, I thought we were paying 5 for enrollment also.
Just not capital.
I thought we did.
Okay, but you're close to 5 students there now. General insurance, the general property insurance, we received the premium and the professional liability insurance, and there's a reduction there in the budget line. So our experience has been good.
Wait, sorry, can we go back to health insurance again? So you had said that with that minus 270, we're close to level funded. Does that affect the proposed plan changes? Does it affect the potential savings from the plan changes?
No,
Okay,
okay. Just haven't fully budgeted for those savings.
okay. So it's not like the fact that the baseline is going down means that the savings from a plan change would shrink. Okay, good.
Plan saving will be the plan savings.
Okay.
Debt service, increased that budget line from the initial budgets to accommodate what would be for short-term borrowing costs, the grant costs. That may need to be tweaked, depending on what consensus is for capital projects funding. The legal budget has been adjusted to 3-year average. We've also,
Question about that. When you look at a 3-year average, that includes a lot of legal work on the issue of the library, which is winding down and ending. There shouldn't be much additional legal work on the library at all. And there's a lot of controls that are in place in other towns. So, which I don't think that Sherborn is using to control legal expenses. So I want to take a moment and just suggest implementing some of those controls. So, for example, towns have this thing called a request for legal services. Just a piece of paper. Nobody can use town council. Nobody can use town council unless they fill out a request for legal services. And in that document, you have to check off some boxes, which is that if there's a state agency that could answer your question, you've got to go to that state agency first before you go to town council. If there's an association, like the Conservation Commissions have an Association of Massachusetts Conservation Commissions. Have you gone to that agency? And you can't get the information. So you check off all those boxes. And then it goes to the town administrator. The town administrator looks at the budget and says, okay, so I got a request from Department X, I got a request from Department Y, but I can only fund X amount of these requests. So what requests can be deferred? You are the gatekeeper, the town administrator, is the gatekeeper. With the expectation that you're going to say no on occasion. And in my towns, the town administrator often says no. And sometimes we have boards and committees that have like disagreements within them. So you have 5, 7, 9 members arguing amongst each other. And I get people calling me up asking me contradictory questions on the same question. And I literally could give 9 opinions, which is going to cost the community a lot of money. But if they are required to have a vote of their board first, before they ask for the legal opinion, and they have to get approval of the town administrator. So you can look at it and say, wait a second, there's 9 people asking the same question. So instead of asking town council to do the work 9 times, let's have them do it once and send copies to everybody, all that kind of stuff. If all that stuff is managed, legal fees will go way down, but it'll be more work for the town administrator. So I'm wondering whether now that we're sort of post the big litigation we've been in, whether it's time to implement some controls on legal expenditures.
I mean, my understanding is that right now, access to town council goes through the town administrator anyways, right? I mean,
In general,
yeah,
it has kind of, yes, that's evolved to be that way right now.
yeah. I mean, I know that there are,
there are some that have more direct access outside of the town administrator.
Yeah.
I agree. It's kind of ripe for a policy, and I suggest it be a select board policy since you retain town council.
Yeah.
I'm happy to draft one up.
Yeah.
For you to consider.
yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I mean,
I think it makes sense.
I thought that it was already a standing policy that nobody has access to town council unless you with a
It's not
select board.
written. I'm
Yeah.
not aware of a written policy.
Right.
But maybe there should be. Maybe
Yeah.
there should be a form. I'm
Yeah.
happy to
Yeah.
work on that and bring it forward.
I think there should be. I agree with Paul on that. It's probably time that we do that because there are other sources of information that people should exhaust, like state agencies, etc. They're often
I guess the only thing is I'm not in complete agreement. There could be some minor issue that you have a quick question on. We have all volunteer boards, so your suggestion that they go to other agencies might not work for some of these boards that are all volunteers or not.
But that might not be our policy, right?
So I think that the policy needs to have some flexibility. That if you have a big issue you need to resolve, it makes sense. But if you have a quick minor question on some whatever it is, planning board zoning articles up. I don't know that we need to go through a whole approval process of, small. I think that's just.
Oh, it's a
Hold
small-
out the boards and committees and maybe cause them not to
Yeah.
find out
But
the
I-
right answer.
But I would say, so like right now, for example, if the planner, I don't know, Marion, you can probably answer this. If the planning board is working on a zoning article and they have a question about some legalese in it, right? Like the
Yeah,
planning board isn't able to say, let's just email town council and ask them. Like you go through the town administrator and say, hey, can we email town council to ask about this thing?
yeah, but I just think the whole degree of rigor should have some flexibility for minor legal questions.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though, is that, I mean, I don't think that we would necessarily want to do it in the way that Paul has outlined,
Yeah,
but there should be a written policy, right? It shouldn't just be
yeah, yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
every person decides for themselves, this is
Yeah,
a minor
thank
question,
you.
I'm gonna email Chris Petrini myself.
Yeah, there should be a gate
Right,
for sure. And
Right.
Jeremy being the gatekeeper makes sense. And there may be times when, even though it's a volunteer board, they did volunteer work.
yeah,
So, I'm less sympathetic to that argument because, often you can get these things answered. And I think Jeremy should feel free to be a gatekeeper, to say, why don't you check with the EOHLC before you go to town council? Look for other sources of information, which they should have done anyway.
so, yeah, no, I think it would be more a matter of codifying what we already do informally, at least what I think that we do informally, and if there are actually people who are just randomly, I mean, I seem to recall when I was on advisory, there was at least one time when I emailed town council about something, it may not actually have been Petrini at that point, but, I think they wouldn't answer my question until either the select board or the town administrator approved them to answer the question.
Yeah, it's not that formal.
Okay.
In general, folks will inquire to me first. I mean, it's just something I can reach out to council on.
Yeah,
I will say, when that doesn't happen, when there is a response back from council, even when the response back to individual.
sure,
But that's sort of after.
That's after
they've
the
already-
fact,
yeah. Yeah,
after we've
Yeah.
spent the money.
yeah. So I mean, that could be part of the policy, right? Is that we should inform town council that if they get a random question out of the blue, something that didn't have prior approval, like an issue that they're working on, that they shouldn't answer it until.
Yeah.
Because my experience being that's how it worked when I tried to email town council. I was like, oh, I guess that's how this works. Okay.
Any comment as far as the budget number, any ideas on the legal budget? The legal budget?
I mean, I think 3 year, I mean, I see what Paul is saying about how there was a major issue that should be resolved now, but I think that looking at the 3 year average and budgeting that way is reasonable. And if it turns out that that was aiming too high, then the following year we'll reduce it.
Right, and there was the opposite, the inverse concern that we should not be spending more on legal above what's budgeted. So,
And it's actually, I think that bringing it up to 160, if I remember correctly, looking at the 3 year average is actually something like 167 or 169, something like
Higher
that.
than the 3 year average?
Yeah.
If you look at the 5 year average is even higher.
Yeah. Again, I think because the library was a little bit heavier back 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm okay with that number for the legal budget.
Next down, we've decided to punt on the big increase for the town building budget and the operating budget. So, to give us more time to talk about how we want to go about, dealing with the study, the recommendation for the study.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to talk about this one because that's a big number. So how did you decide keeping 37 and punting 163? Like what are those things?
Some numbers out of the study, and essentially it's adding some inflation to what we currently do. So it's not fully addressing the recommendations of the study. In the operating budget.
Okay.
But talking to Sean, it's not, nothing's gonna fall down.
So that's for
all.
revision, should do
We could use the benefit of some more time, as a community to discuss how we want to. Yeah, and what state of affairs I think your town building's in, and how best to fund them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're being selective and thoughtful about what things are in. Because I know there have been issues in the past of letting things fall into disrepair just because it was easier for the budgeting to do so. And I know that we advisory were guilty of causing that to happen. So I just want to make sure that we are safe with things. I worry when I see that some outside consultant recommended $200,000 and you're saying, nah, let's just do 37,000. I'm like, that's the kind of thing that got us in trouble.
So, and it's. You'll see, in the roll off as far as where you're sitting with a balanced budget. If all of these things stay more or less they stay on, just squeak by with a very small amount of excess money capacity. So to keep a fair amount in that ongoing budget will, it doesn't help you get by without an override. But it's definitely an issue we need to keep discussing. We shouldn't just, we're going to study, put it on a shelf and not think about it again for 5 years. We should continue to talk about it and factor that into your long-term finance. So we should keep that on the front burner. We talked to the two chiefs and Sean, and we found a little savings in their budgets. Currently, there's a placeholder for the recreation operating budget to be reduced as well. There's a meeting planned of the advisory liaisons and the recreation committee for next week to discuss that. So these last these next two are placeholders based on some conversations that are happening between advisory and departments and boards.
Can we go back to the police, fire, DPW?
Sure.
Just because the last time we met with them, I think we had gone over their budgets and we had come up with something. And I think I had asked the chiefs and Sean to, consider, this and leave this thing in your budget, but we might ask you to take it out. So I'm just wondering that 33,000. What was the approximate sort of breakdown for
About a third.
And what were the types of things that were taken out?
There was some expenses and on the public works side. There was some fine tuning of salaries on police and fire center. Based on police side, based on when officers would be ready from training to come online in that 2020. Not affecting staffing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
On the fire side, was looking at the hours budgeted and allotted.
So are we
not changing any shift coverage?
okay? Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're not reducing service and staffing.
No.
And so on the DPW side, then what was taken out of the DPW?
Some expense.
Some okay.
Expenses, no salary changes there.
Okay. Okay.
So, and yeah, the directive was not to change any level of service.
Okay.
Try to find some savings in those budgets.
Okay.
At least they looked at their own budgets and brought them forward.
Okay.
I would say, this isn't something you can keep doing.
Yeah.
They're pretty lean budget already.
Yeah.
Slightly leaner.
Yeah. Well, that's why I worry because I know what their budgets look like, and now 33,000 is not that much for those three, which are fairly large departments. But I know when you start getting down to it, $5,000 for this or that is well, then you're not gonna get something. So now I kind of want to know over each of these line items now, I'm gonna be asking you where, well, what is it?
This page change.
What makes this up and what are we losing? Because, again, I want to make sure that we are not, that we're not reducing service, we're not reducing staffing, that the things that are being cut are, like, non-essential expenses, the clothing allowances, and I think with Chief Lord, one of the things was, non-mandatory training or something like that, and those are the types of things that I want to be cutting. I don't want to be actually hampering the function of any of these boards and departments.
Yeah, speaking of functions, snow issues are outside of these numbers.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be something different.
okay.
So then recreation, I think I probably know what that is, but what is the 123 from recreation?
So
That's a piece.
that would,
That was capital.
that current proposal would put that on the historic level of funding in the operating budget.
Okay.
Again, there's a meeting with them, scheduled with advisory and the rec committee that's a week.
Okay. Has the rec committee been informed of this
I believe that
request? Not of the meeting, but of this specific request.
to look at their budget.
Okay.
Same with conservation and board of health and library. I believe library had a meeting with liaisons yesterday, and board of health met with liaisons this morning. Conservation tomorrow.
So do we know what's the nature of the 42,000, which is more than police, fire, and DPW, which are at least an order of magnitude larger in terms of budget, those three departments compared to conservation?
It's just under from advisory based.
From advisory. So you don't know what they based their number on, because it sounds like it wasn't actually police, fire, and DPW. You said the chiefs came up with these cuts and brought them to you, but I don't think conservation, board of health, or library came up with these cuts and went to advisory, right?
Meetings haven't occurred with the boards yet.
The meetings haven't occurred. And do we know what's the breakdown of conservation, board of health, and library in terms of that 42,000? Or it's all driven by advisory?
Those are placeholders.
Okay.
Ongoing discussions.
Okay, so again, same thing as I was saying with all the other departments. I would say I would ask this board whether you agree that a directive from this board, even though we don't really even have jurisdiction over the Board of Health and the library, I think that overall, our position as the select board of this town is that I do not want a reduction in services. I do not want a reduction in staffing. That budget reductions should be for non-essential items and, things like office supplies and postage and things like that. We do not want to be reducing staffing or service. So,
moved.
Yeah.
So
You agree
you
with
obviously
this?
don't have any jurisdiction over Board of Health and Library, but certainly, there's many things that are not on this list, right? There's the assessors, there's the town clerk, there's all of the budgets. As you work on all of these other budgets, I think that would be my directive to you, but also to the advisory committee. And I want to state publicly for any of the other budget makers that are here or might watch this recording later, that this select board does not want you to reduce service or reduce staffing. And if the advisory committee is pressuring you to do so, you have our support to push back on those requests. Because we don't need $42,000 to stay under the levy limit.
Yeah, so do you want a formal motion or just,
I would advise, well, maybe you should just let the discussions play out.
Yeah.
I think you've made your point.
I'm pretty sure that the school budget 3.0 is going to be enough to cover this placeholder for Concom, VOH, and library, and probably also the police, fire, DPW. So looking at your presentation, I think in your next slide or two also, there's probably some other moves that can be made to also free up a little bit more room. All right, and then the miscellaneous number, that's 6,000.
Miscellaneous, other budget changes since the initial roll-up.
Okay. So then in total, if we net these two out, minus 924 and then plus 147, we're looking at a bit over a million, right? A million,
Yeah.
70 or so.
So it puts you in the positive by,
Well, it was 850, right? Was the amount. So we're at around $200,000 here, right? Is our now little bit of breathing room. But then on top of that, we've got budgets 3.0 coming in, and then we have potentially the health insurance plan change. So I think between those two, we're going to be looking at another six figures at least, somewhere between 1 and 200,000, I would guess. So that might bring our excess levy capacity into the range of 300,000, 350 maybe. Part of that depends on the state aid, which I think you said hopefully is going up. I was definitely a little concerned about the governor's budget not being final, and then it's like, well, if that goes down, that's not good. But okay, so I think
There's also earmarks that we've been talking about that's going to supplement some expenditures, which might then, well, it may relieve capital, should have a positive effect on their operating budgets.
okay. Good. And I commend all of the budget makers and Jeremy and the work that the advisory committee has done so far to get us into this position. I want to, even though she's not here, I do want to publicly praise Dawn Fator, which I'm not in the habit of generally doing. In my time on advisory, I think she and I were often thorns in each other's side, but she's done a good job with the budgets this year. And when I first told her the amount that we need school budgets to come down, I believe she said, I quote something like, "Well, that's not going to happen," or "That's ridiculous," or something like. There's just no way. But she did it. So kudos to Dawn, even though she's not here. But I do want to praise her for that.
so here's what it looks like all rolled up. Three main categories. So the education component would look just talked about. Overall, it would be a 5.3% increase into 2027. That negative shown there, I just want to say again, is not a reduction in the local elementary school funding. That's a shift of out-of-district costs for middle and high school kids to a region. The out-of-district costs for elementary school kids still stay in the elementary school budget. And actually, the budget for Pine Hill is proposed to increase for FY 27 by 1.5%. The regional schools budget increased by 4.2%, maybe change from the 3.0 budgets. And the larger increase in the region is because of the shift in the out-of-district costs. Town government, with the items discussed on the prior slide, overall 4.5% increase. See, health insurance now is essentially level funded. And overall, the town budget would increase 4.9%. To put that in context, last year going into FY 26 was a 3.5% increase. So currently, as proposed, this would still be a larger increase than you had from the prior year. And again, you would be left with some excess levy capacity, but not as much as you struck.
Was COLA higher last year than it is this year?
Yeah.
Some of that difference would be.
Yeah.
No, COLA was higher, so yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It, is the Middlesex County retirement, is that an actuarial change that the actuaries looked
Yeah,
at
it
life
is.
expectancy, that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
determined?
I mean, that is.
Was it number?
And even running about 6%, and then
Yeah.
one time, a lot of adjustments for retirees that bumped it, but
But they could decide that your average life expectancy is 95 or something, and you're,
it's we're given.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Because I have to take this.
But an adjustment of living expectancy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the stuff you can't anticipate.
It's likely gonna be at that level, 8% or more.
Right.
To get that fully funded. By the deadline.
Yep.
When's the deadline?
Sooner than that. I can't remember, it's sooner than that.
Right.
The deadline for that is not a deadline. Just to show graphically where you're at by way of the levy limit is your dash line there. Green line needs to be below that, if it's funding the budget or even an override. As originally submitted, your budgets were that red line went over the dotted line, so you're in deficit, you get override. Now, you have a quote balanced budget, small amount of excess levy capacity.
But as we said, we expect that to actually increase some.
Could increase some as the budgets get fine tuned and revenue get fine tuned.
And
But you're not going to be left with the $750,000. I guess that's what you get. You might have half that. Maybe a little less.
Right, as Steve, as I had said, there were all these things that might happen that he was talking about, maybe 350 and all those numbers. So this is like, I'm looking at this as worst case. And that we can hopefully get a better outcome.
So in addition to your operating budget, there's other fiscal articles at town meeting. So this is an attempt to summarize some recommendations.
So then your current budget, we still are doing half and half on the OPEB?
Correct.
Okay. So there's another potential $100,000 if we needed it, which
Yes.
doesn't seem like we will need it.
Right. So given that it didn't seem that you would need it, it seems that based on the good discussion with the auditor and the desire to keep your good bond rating, that you would want to keep contributing to OPEB in the same way, even if there was going to be the same amount in a different way. If you could do it in the same way in your operating budget, split 50-50. That was the goal.
This is the warrant signature.
Currently was shown. $100,000 from free cash to fund the OPEB trust, another 100 out of the operating budget, the OPEB trust, $50,000 to general stabilization, $300,000 that is released from overlay, is be appropriated into the capital stabilization fund. That would put the balance in that fund to be about, I think, $150,000. So could take the next year and plan on how you might spend that in your capital plan.
Yeah. We're not planning on spending out of it this year.
No. Okay. However, suggesting that there amount more free cash fund the capital budget, which is that next line there. So, as shown here on the next slide, capital might be funded with 1.1 million in free cash, which is significantly higher than prior years. And right now, the supplemental appropriation is estimated 230. That could be higher after this last term. Probably will be higher after the last term. That will be funded by free cash. So, as shown here, you'd be using 1.8 million in free cash to help fund these stabilization funds and capital. That still maintains your free cash within the level of your policies, 4% or so. So that's right in the middle of your 3 to 5% target. And then also using, the sped stabilization fund to help fund your budget.
So now I have a question about the free cash. So, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but now after my discussion with Dawn about the region's bond rating dropping because they weren't close enough to the 5% max for their E&D, which is effectively their version of free cash. Do we know that if our free cash number isn't closer to 5%, is that going to be viewed negatively by the bond rating agencies?
They're provided our policies, when they do our bond rating. We states between 3 and 5.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because the past couple of years, our free cash has been well over 5%, and I don't want that to be something that they view as being like.
And then if you look at the other reserves you have, such as general stabilization, you look at trust and capital stabilization, which if this proposal sticks, you'd be significantly contributing to your capital stabilization.
Right. Because we could just as easily say with the overlay release, instead of putting it all into capital stabilization, we could put it into free cash to get us to a level at 5%, but instead we're choosing to put it into a stabilization fund. So they should look at all of those
Yeah,
collectively
that's a
as,
good point.
yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to, every now and then we do something that seems fine, and then later on, the bond rating agency is like, yeah, that was a little sketchy, you shouldn't have done that. And we're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I heard prior conversations of the board and others that there was a desire to limit the amount of borrowing to utilize more free cash.
Yeah. No, and I think that's good. And so I think what you've done here is great. I just want to make sure that the number that we're targeting on free cash, that is safe.
Yeah, it's going, in the middle above the middle of our policy.
Yeah. One thing also I discovered yesterday that apparently the abbreviation SPED is problematic, and if that's the official,
That's the official name.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
How cumbersome is it to officially change the name of that
Well, I think if
stabilization
you do
fund?
indeed spend this down.
Oh, that's right, because we're gonna make a new stabilization fund. Okay, so we'll just have to keep that in mind. It should be called special education.
Next is some suggestions, recommendations as far as how you might fund your capital project should these get approved. This sure shows you where I came up with that 1.1 million in free cash. The changes from what you've seen before. One, recommending or suggesting that deferring the request from the rec for the field two renovation. Seems like that's not fully baked yet. So assuming that is deferred, that's what's calculated here. The biggest change would be under the town facilities and infrastructure capital item. Focusing in on what Sean and I believe is the number one priority listed in this current study, which is the town hall roof and exterior. So focusing on that for an actual construction project to be funded, and then requesting funds for design of another number of other items that would be then that were identified in the study would then be ready. More information known for the year after. This does sort of set us back a year in what that study said. So the study said to essentially do all of that up there, including design and construction of all of that. I think it's a fair amount to accomplish anyway. We might not have the throughput anyway, but it starts us on the path to address what's in the study and fund it all through free cash, and starts to get us in an alignment where we're doing design ahead of asking for construction.
Yeah.
And having designs in place is a step up if you're going to go for a grant of any kind. I don't know if any of these would qualify for grant money, but in general, the clearer idea you have what you're aiming for makes your chances better.
Build on that comment, we want to request earmarks. We have a request from our from our state rep for a list of earmarks. And the more of town facilities and infrastructure we can put into that and get some funding for it would be excellent.
Do you have thoughts about any of these projects, whether they would be good candidates for earmarks?
And we could certainly ask for some of the town facilities. You know, ones that might stand out, for such a request.
Library septic system?
The subject is,
Library, they like libraries?
So there might be something there. You know, the one that we did defer and we're hopeful to receive a grant was the farm pond access
yeah,
project. So
yeah.
you have a grant application in, you should hear about that.
Oh, that's good.
But that is a good earmark request as well. Actually, there's a sort of a supplemental project to what was brought forward that had other access, handicap access down near the bathhouse end of the parking lot. So asking for an earmark for that might be appropriate. So, and generally, vehicles are not, and kind of routine things are not looked at favorably for earmarks.
And then there also was a request from the congressman for some
right, Jake.
earmark suggestions. But I hope we're taking advantage of.
Yeah, I think the deadline for that is March 1st.
One of the question I have here though, Jeremy, and Sean would know better, is this town hall HVAC. I'm wondering if it's things up there, you might want to do it when you're doing the roof and the exterior, if it has to
Mostly these units here,
is that what it is more so? Yeah.
there's really no roof units here. They're all outside my office.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So the roof is pretty clear. It is slope
Well,
roof
no, I meant in the attic.
in the attic. Oh, there might be some.
There's some things up in the attic, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what they are, but if there's any interaction between those two projects, it's probably worth considering.
Okay.
But Sean will know that.
This is,
Any other thoughts on these suggestions, these ideas?
Looks good.
He's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I mean-
Good summary too.
summaries are great.
And then leave you with this, and that a reminder that the advisory public hearing is March 21st. You have one more select board meeting scheduled before then.
Mhm.
If there's anything by way of budgets or warrant article that you'd like to have presentations on at your next meeting, we can certainly line that up. If there's any budget you want to focus on that you haven't seen or had presented to you or discussed, certainly do that at your next meeting. The capital project you want more information on, warrant article with like more information on.
I can't add anything further. I think we've covered a lot of it, and we'll hear it in advisory public hearing one more time.
Did you want to talk at all about capital improvement generally and ownership of that, or is that a discussion for another time? Well, we already cleared out all the end of meeting stuff, so I think that's it, right?
It is it.
Yeah,
Oh, so
Yes.
please do.
the motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
My second.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.